Hello YouTube. I'm back with Gangles after taking a bit of an extended break myself. Gangles has spent the last little while working on a version 2 of his Gangles Grand MIS. We're going to show you today how this thing works, what all the components are. We'll give you a quick run through of each of those individual components and a bit of a showcase of this whole thing together. Okay, so coming through here, we can see the full hull and all of the MIS chests in the one wide tileable format. At this end here, you'll see the setup for the non-stackables and where they will end up getting sorted to. You can see some overflow from both MIS and box display just below the floor here with an entrance off to the side. And our input is down towards the end of the hall. So you'll see that Gangles has done a fantastic job of decorating this whole thing and getting it all organized with some item sorting for us. And this is where our input will be. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop in a barrel full of shulker boxes here. And after we do our run through, we'll come back and we'll see how everything's sorted up. So why don't we pop that barrel in there.
Barrels loaded. Why don't you do the honors?
Oh, will do. Here we go. All right, we can hear it working. Okay, let's pop over to some of those individual components and take a look. All right, so Gangles has gone through the trouble of breaking out each of the individual components here. So you'll see them just around the outside of the full Grand MIS, and you'll see an exploded build in the background, which we'll run through as well after we go through each of the individual components. So we'll start here, and we're going to gloss over some of these for sure because we've shared these in previous videos. I'll put a bunch of links to some of these other components that have their own highlights already, and you can always check out some of those other videos to see the specific workings of those. Specifically, this very first item, which is the TTP box sorter that I worked on with a few other folks here. I don't think we're going to go into too many details on it. Gangles, you did make a few edits to it for your purposes.
Yeah. One of the edits I did was slowed down the input, and that is because I'm putting in not always full boxes, um, and then I'm using a slice to repackage them if they're unsorted at the end.
Right.
Um, so I slowed down the input so that doesn't get mixed up in the end, which I found that it was. So maybe a few other small things here and there.
Okay, cool. But essentially, same basic workings as before.
Essentially the same thing, yeah. And then here is a box display by acaciachan. Essentially the same concept as the one in the first Grand MIS, except this one is heaps better in every way.
Yeah, it's a lot better. This thing is like what I wanted to make when I set out to do a box display.
Yeah. So this is it's a lot smaller. I do believe it still buffers a box.
Yeah, one in the hopper here.
One in the hopper. I think this must be an error of some kind.
Yeah, I think that might have been from when I was playing with it earlier.
Yeah.
So I'll just take those out, but I will
And then
pull these items out so we can see it break and replace. Now,
and I
these would be waterlogged,
yes.
and as the box breaks and it falls into the water, it'll hit this stream and gets sent back to a central location.
Yeah. Two of the things that I did with this, and actually SwitchD helped me figure out the reliable timing for box detection,
Hmm.
which is this circuit here. Um, and then I found that um, if there was no boxes in the display, when you cycled all of them for box detection, it would dry up the water on the pressure or on the trap doors.
Right.
So I just added another stair on the edge with another water source
So it feeds it
so
back
it
in.
could replenish itself. Yeah,
Very cool.
that's the only two modifications we've done to that.
Awesome.
This is, the MIS 4.2. Everybody should be fairly familiar with it. This is Dat Nerd's version. Changed a few things to fit the build style, and I also changed up the item gate.
Yeah.
I used this one by Walter,
Yeah.
and it has been proven to be reliable and a little bit faster than this one.
Than the original.
Yeah,
The semi-original. Because there was definitely another item gate before this
yeah,
one.
yeah. There's a few ones, and I think there's a pretty big one before too. Um, this is the Unstackable sorter I'm using by KikuGie. I may have pronounced that horribly wrong. I apologize. Um, and I've changed this from Command Leo's because it sorts powdered snow.
Oh, very cool.
And it has been working for me. However, um, Command Leo has deemed it unreliable in his testing. I've yet to see that in my use case, but I wouldn't doubt there probably is a fail case.
If Leo says it's unreliable, I trust Leo. This looks
Um,
significantly
this
altered.
Yes, this was altered a bit to fit um, more of the deco. I moved some of the chest around a bit. I added overflow out the back here, and I removed a lot of the built-in input protection that KikuGie and Cubic Meter, I believe, worked on.
Hmm.
Um, just because I'm not going to be using it under those cases, I didn't need that protection there.
All right, cool. Okay, this is a pretty important component here, your input.
Yes, this is the input I designed. It's a protected input. So boxes would go in this barrel, and then loose items would go in the shulker box. Just throw in some shulker boxes. And so if you put loose items in this barrel, it will shoot them back out at you.
Yeah, you don't have the water up there, do you? Oh no,
I
you
do.
do. Oh,
Um,
I just couldn't see it with my shaders.
I wasn't even sure myself. um, it automatically recycles the box using this ice piston here. Um, Show it again real quick. It comes down, um, empty boxes through the overflow line. When they come back before they hit the
There it
storage,
is. Yeah,
they will go into that set of droppers and get queued up.
I got all 64 of those dirt, so that was cool.
I guess the next component on the list is a chunk loader. Um, This is the pumpkin-based chunk loader. I've had this question asked a lot of times. It does not have to be 500 blocks above the storage. It can be anywhere in the same chunks relative to the storage.
Okay, cool.
Fill level separator by Rapscallion, the cyclical variable sorter, which is next. I have
Right.
a slice cut out of the side here, and what this does is it takes mixed boxes, takes the first item out of the first box, and then searches every corresponding box for that item and cycles until all the boxes are empty. It loads those. Actually, first, it separates out the non 64 stackables into water streams down below and packages all the 64 stackable items into as few single type boxes as possible.
Oh, this whole exploded build is very, very cool. I hope it helps people learn about putting a whole storage system together. Okay, so here we are. Everything has completed sorting. So if we take a look into some of these stacks of chests, we'll see that we have our cobblestone, stone brick, and smooth stone in the first column. We got nothing for granite, nothing for diorite. We have some andesite sorted. Lots of deep slate, but you can see all the different categories getting put into the right column. So everything looks good. There's definitely a lot of obsidian here, but you can kind of see that in the boxes of, who was this? Octagon?
Octagon, yeah.
Okay, so here's the obsidian in those two shulkers. Uh, those two shulkers right there. So that's sorted out. So everything looks good in terms of where the multi-item sorter placed its items, and as Gangles has organized it. And then the next is the bulk. You were calling this, was it FlexStorage?
Yeah, I guess FlexStorage, I guess, is a more appropriate name.
Right, because it's not
Um,
filling up. It's not waiting to give you a shulker when it's full. It's
yeah,
loading a constant flow of the same item into a shulker.
right.
So we got almost a full box of stone on display already. Nothing for granite at all, because who uses that? A couple stacks of
Diorite.
diorite. We got almost two stacks of andesite. So that's pretty good because you get some decent variety just in terms of
Yeah.
how many stacks each you get, right? Sand
Well,
is
and
nearly
yeah, and the
full.
idea is that typically you're going to have a lot of this going into your storage at the same time anyway, right?
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. Yeah, I guess there's the chance you might only put in two gravel and then it'll get a box, but
And really
if you
if you wanted to merge things,
yeah,
you could take two of the
um,
boxes from the same container
we
and throw it back in, right?
yeah.
Okay, that's it for the Grand Miss version 2. Thanks, Gangles, for putting this together and staying dedicated to building out a sorting system that hopefully people continue to enjoy and continue to build. I'll include some links to some videos for some of the components, as I said I would. We'll have the link to the Storage Tech Discord in the description as well. And if you have any questions, you can always find Gangles typically hanging out there and happy to help. But
Yep.
thanks, man, for putting this together again. And um, it's the whole thing is really, really cool. All the work that you've done here to build the system, decorate the system, explain it all to us. So thanks again. I really appreciate it. That's it for today. Thanks again, YouTube. Have a good one.